Welcome everyone. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of REKT on Crypto. Today we're going to go over something that I've been excited about for so long. We briefly went over it on my last video, but today we're going to dive into a test site demo version on exactly what to expect, and that is Vault369. It is a new and improvised liquidity fork. I'm telling you, there's two words in the Pulse chain ecosystem that will forever haunt me, and that's liquidity, plus X, and pulse X. I will never be able to say this without it stumbling or coming out incorrectly. It just doesn't come off the tongue right. So if I mispronounce something, I'm sorry in advance. But Vault369, I heard some updates that they're close. A lot of the devs are behind the scenes working on it. And today I kind of want to go over this as simply and as quickly as possible without too much confusion, because it is a little different than your traditional liquidity forks. And let's just dive right into it. Alrighty. So here we are. This is the main landing page to Vault369.com. This is where you can see the protocol status, overall collateralized ratio, the health of the protocol, total active vaults, the total collateral in the protocol, and also the total debt. So we won't get too much into this. I mean, this is pretty much self-explanatory. We're going to get into the fun stuff, which is borrowing, lending, trading, and also staking. So if you come to the top here, you're going to see a bunch of different options for, simplicity purposes. We're going to use borrow so we can get to that page. Oh, one thing I did want to mention, this protocol will be interoperable with other EVMs. As you can see here, the network, you can choose whichever one you're using: Polygon, Avalanche, BNB, Solana, Sonic, Pulse Chain, Ethereum. For this example, we're going to stick with Pulse Chain because we love Pulse Chain, right? But yeah, so once you come to this landing page, you come to the top, you'll see a borrow, manage, staking, stable swap. We'll get into each one of these very briefly. So we're going to kick to the borrow asset. And what's really cool about Vault369 is you're able to put up derivative tokens like pool validating on Vouch or pool validating on Plus X. And you'd kind of be able to use that, to your advantage when you want to take or lend or borrow, right? So that kind of breaks it down here. So you'll see we have vPulse and uPulse. So vPulse is derivative token of pool validating on Vouch, and uPulse is derivative token of pool validating on PlusX. And then you have your native token Pulse Chain, which is fine there. And then if you come down, there's also high-risk assets that you could put in as collateral as well. I'm not sure if these tokens will be listed upon launch. I think this is for demonstration purposes, simply to show like, hey, listen, if you're putting up a very volatile asset, you might need to bump up your collateralized ratio a little bit, and the liquidation obviously would be a lot higher. As you see here, if you wanted to provide solid X, for instance, 300 is the minimum collateralized ratio that you need. Same thing for access, a little bit higher collateralized ratio. And also down here, these are the LP pools where you'd be able to deposit your LP tokens that you get from PulseX, and you earn pretty much a triple yield, which is really, really cool. It breaks it down here. You earn trading fees from your PulseX liquidity providing. You earn ink farming rewards if that's what you're doing in that pool, and then you also can stake VUSD to earn vault and liquidation profit. Really, really awesome. So they have a list of pools here. I'm assuming more will be coming or adjusted when this thing goes live. And they also have LP positions from other decentralized exchanges like 9MM. As you can see down here is a list of a bunch of them. But for this example, I'm going to stick with the derivative token, vPulse, in this example. So let's get right into it. So if you want to borrow, this is how you start that process. So vPulse, that sounds cool. I like it. I have vPulse. Click that. Now it asks you how much you want to deposit, right? So let's just say I have 500 million vPulse. I think that's 500 million. No, it's 50 million. 500 million vPulse, and it even breaks it down for you. The USD value of that collateral will be 18,500, which is really nice. And then the mint capacity is tells you the maximum before you get liquidated is 12,900. But I always play it safe, like I once said. Keep the ratio over, I would say, 200%, your collateralized ratio, to prevent liquidation and any kind of risk. So let's remember this number, 18,500. To keep it simple, let's just say I want to take out 9,000. So you proceed to the next window, and this is where you're going to borrow your VUSD, which is the stable coin in this protocol. So we'll just click 9,000, which is pretty safe. And then you proceed to the next page, and here's your transaction windows. Just verify everything. So we'll see the collateralized asset, which is VPulse. Deposit amount is 500 million VPulse. Mint amount 9,000 VUSD. And then the protocol fee, 45 bucks, 0.5%, pretty standard. And then my collateralized ratio will be at 205%, which is pretty safe for me, active all day. And then the liquidation threshold is at 110%, which is standard across other liquidity forks. And then your gas fee, if whatever, if you care about that. I mean, Pulse Chain's so cheap, it really shouldn't matter unless you're trading Pulse wrapped Bitcoin, and then it might spike a little bit. The trades on that have been crazy. It's been spiking up the gas fees on the network a little bit, but. So we confirm a mint, and then from here you'll be able to mint your VUSD and start staking. But there is one caveat. So in traditional staking, you deposit the VUSD or the stable coin in this certain protocol, and then you would be able to earn the liquidation profits and also the reward token. In this case, it's Vault. But Vault369 operates a little differently. In order to participate in these staking pools, you need the LP tokens, right? The LP tokens are VUSD and DAI, or VUSD and USDC, stable to stable. Okay, and I'll show you I'll walk you through how you can do that, so it's easy when this thing launches. So you come here, the LP stability pools, kind of breaks it down for you pretty easily. You kind of come down here, you can see which stability pool you want to dive into. They have filters if you wanted to filter out decentralized exchanges, single assets, PulseX pools. But I already have my VPulse, like I just said, so we're going to stick with the VPulse stability pool, right? So back to what I was saying, the VUSD and DAI LP deposit. That's how you participate in these stability pools. So you can get, the VUSD and DAI on PulseX, and then once you get that liquidity tokens, you can deposit them here. I don't have any LP tokens in this, but we'll just pretend like we do. So come over here. Let's just say we have 50,000 LP tokens. Estimate your daily rewards of about 50 Volt a day, and then you deposit, and 10% discount on VPulse. That's from the liquidation profits, right? So that's something to keep in mind. And another thing which ties into this directly is when you come to the stable swap tab on the top, this is where you'll be able to swap your DAI and VUSD. Now, if you're swapping from DAI to VUSD, you get a 1% bonus, right? So, and then vice versa. If you're swapping from VUSD to DAI, you get a 1% penalty. So as you see here, if I wanted to buy VUSD with DAI, and I put $100 in, I will get 101 VUSD. So that's pretty cool. And then vice versa, if I do 100 VUSD coming back into DAI, I'll get a 1% hit, $1 off. And what's really cool about this, it's an online order book, so you'd be able to see your orders and other orders as well. And you'll also be able to see your pending orders, broken down in separate windows. But why is this needed, right? So if you come down here, it'll kind of go over like why it's needed, the mechanics and the benefits, right? So swap mechanics, you swap DAI to VUSD. You get a 1% bonus. We talked about that. And then vice versa, VUSD sellers get a 1% premium. Instant fill, matching liquidity available. Otherwise, it sits in the order book, just like a traditional exchange like we used to do back in the day. Partial fills are supported. And then the arbitrage opportunity. Now, this is a little bit more in depth, a little more technical, but one way to think of it is this. If VUSD is pegged below $1, let's just say 90 cents, right? You could buy the VUSD on wherever the decentralized exchange is, maybe PulseX or something, and you could sell your VUSD for DAI. You pay a 1% premium, and you take full advantage of that arbitrage. Now, the gross profit arbitrage will be 10%, but because of the 1% fee that you're selling BUSD, you net probably about 9% arbitrage, but who cares, profit is profit. So really cool. And like I said, there's 0 fees on this protocol, so you'd be able to swap in and out if you want those stablecoin pairs. And then you just go get the LP token from a decentralized exchange, and you deposit when you want to borrow. So that's how the staking pool works when you do that. Now, there's also a Manage tab where you come here. This kind of gives you a high-level, holistic view of all of your open vaults along with the risk, and kind of breaks it down similarly to other liquidity forks, right? And then you come all the way to the bottom. It kind of condenses it a little bit, just so easier on the eyes. And then you kind of just, make your action as see fit. Another cool component to staking, especially if you have the reward token, in this case it's Vault, which the token is trading live, so if you wanted to snag a couple right now, you can. When the protocol lives, you could stake it right away. So that's where you would come to stake Vault, right? This is your staking pool, like liquidity forks. When you go to the, if you go to Ink Printer or Flex or Earn or Liquid Loans, you deposit those tokens. This is where you do that. So now here you would see the breakdown of when you want to go stake your Vault tokens. And what's really neat is that you can choose your lock duration. And what's neat about that is there is some kind of benefit when it comes to this. So you don't have a lock, you get just your regular fixed rate rewards. But if you lock them for 3 months, you get a 1.1% bonus, or I'd say just, a 10% bonus. And then you get a 30% bonus for 6 months. And then you get a whole 100% bonus on the 12-month lock. And there's going to be a DAO implemented in this protocol, so you also get voting right bonus as well. So 10%, 30%, 100%, similar to the reward structure, right? And you come down here, you'd be able to stake it, whatever you have, whatever your duration is. And you could also split it up. If you have, let's just say 10,000 Vault tokens, you could do 5,000 in a 3-month and 5,000 in a 12-month, or keep 5,000 free, whatever you wanted to do. It gives you some options there. And then you'd be able to see your positions once you do that. Tells you how many days are left in the pool and what to look forward to as far as like your rewards. You can claim them. I believe you can claim them all at once on the main page. I'll see if I can get to that. And then when your stake matures, you'd be able to unstake your Vault tokens and put them back in your wallet, and then you could do whatever you want from them. You could start another one, up to you. Now the DAO is also really, really cool. This is where you'll be able to vote and submit proposals as well, on the protocol. So it just pretty much goes through it here. You vote for this, enable SolidX token trade as collateral, and then you vote yay or nay, right? And they also have the proposal section down here, broken down pretty simply. Whatever the category is, fee structure, redemption whitelist, treasury management, protocol upgrades, government changes. Pretty straightforward, and it even has a template down here, so you could just use it, just so it makes it easier for everyone else. And then the proposal received, submission cost 10,000 Volt, voting period, quorum required, which is pretty much like how much you got to pay to get the submission. Approval threshold 60%, time locking delay 2 days. Okay, so please be specific about implementing details and impacts, include risk and analysis mitigation strategies, explain benefits to the protocol and community. Proposals must be technically feasible. Duplicate proposals will be rejected. So pretty straightforward. Keep it simple. Keep it understandable for people if you are participating in something like this. But yeah, this breaks down a lot of the core components of Vault369. I didn't want to get into too much. I didn't want it to be a long video. If you do have any other questions, please join the Vault369 Telegram. I will put a link for that down below. Super excited what's to come. There's going to be a lot of activity, I feel. And I feel that overall, liquidity forks are incredibly underutilized, especially if you have some kind of, tax implications in your area, and you don't want to sell your assets and have seller's remorse, you could use your collateral, to get some kind of stable coin that you could use and pay off your loan when the bull run comes, right? So there's a lot of different functionality with protocols like this that I think people are not well versed, or they're just not exposed to it enough. So with that being said, I hope this information was helpful. I will catch you in the next one.